Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a great and wonderful day. Well, it seems that the Hannah Gutierrez is in deep doo-doo. She is going to jail. She is now in prison. She will now be in prison, and it won't be a great day for her at all. I haven't watched the whole thing, the whole court case yet, but I'm just going to do a report on this. So without further ado, let's just directly into it. So it says, Rust armor Hannah Gutierrez Reed guilty of involuntary manslaughter and accidental shooting. The armor on the ill-fated Western film Rust was convicted on Wednesday of involuntary manslaughter and the death of the film's cinematographer. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. Jurors returned a verdict after less than 3 hours of deliberations on Wednesday afternoon following 2 weeks of testimony about safety lapses on set. Reed was acquitted of a separate charge of tampering with evidence. She faces up to 18 months in prison at sentencing, which is expected sometime in April. Following the verdict, Judge Mary Smarklow Summers ordered Gutierrez Reed remanded into custody. As her attorney Monica Perez rubbed her back to comfort her, bailiffs led her away. Outside the first judicial district courthouse in Santa Fe, New Mexico, jurors Alberto Sanchez told reporters that the jury reached a fair verdict. Someone died, Sanchez said. You gotta take responsibility, especially when you're handling weapons and you're in charge of those. That's your job. Reed was the first person to stand trial in the October 21st, 2021 shooting on the film set at the Bonanza Creek Ranch outside Santa Fe, New Mexico. Alec Baldwin is set to face his own manslaughter trial in July. The first assistant director, Dave Hills, took a plea deal last year to a misdemeanor count of negligent handling of a gun and served 6 months of an unsupervised probation. So yeah, he got a slap on the wrist. But this is another thing here too, though. This is not looking too good for Alec Baldwin, because if she got hit with it, which obviously she has more full control over it, guys. And let's be honest here. Let's be honest. I don't like Alec Baldwin as much as the next guy, right? I don't like him. I think he's a terrible guy. But at the end of the day, it's really hard to kind of pin everything on this man because, well, he's an idiot. And he was trusting his armorer to actually do her bloody job. I mean, this is what you get when you hire a far leftist and stuff like that, but I digress. But he's still also responsible for hiring people being adequate for the job, and he did some mistakes on his end too, so we're going to see on how it goes. I still think the guy should at least be punished in some way or the other. I think he should spend some jail time, a little bit. I could be a bit biased, but I believe he should spend some jail time, because somebody did die, and this is not something that is good. All right. Reed loaded of so again, we already know kind of what happens here, so I don't want to do a full recap on this. All right. So it says here, Rachel Mason, a friend of Hutchins, attended the trial and is directing and producing a documentary about her life entitled Helena. Interviewed about the verdict, Mason said she was still processing feelings of grief and mourning. My overall feeling is extreme sadness that Helena will continue not to be here. Mason said, Hannah going to jail will not change that. And that's what a lot of people need to start understanding too, right? Jail doesn't change the fact that somebody is gone or a murder has been done. It's just a placebo kind of thing, right? Where you get that one bit of justice that makes it feel a little bit better, right? It is that one thing that is better. And I had a conversation with somebody before that when my father passed, and he was mostly, I would say, murdered in this regard, just because you sue them and you get some money doesn't make the pain or anything else go away. Sure, it might feel better, but again, it's months and months of actual litigation and a lot of money involved, and you get the money, but by the end of it, you're going through hell. It's a terrible thing. You just want to mourn the person that has passed away, and it's terrible. And of course, my father would not want something like that to happen, right? And the money is just like a placebo buff, and it doesn't really do much. The passing is still there. But at the very least, they got some type of justice. They can at least rest easy that, that there is some type of justice being prevailed. And that's the good thing that's here, right? To convict the involuntary manslaughter charge, jurors had to agree that Gutierrez Reed acted with willful disregard for the safety of others and that the death was a foreseeable consequence of her actions. Shortly before the verdict, the jurors asked a question about what might constitute an intervening event that would break the foreseeable chain of events. Marlo Sommer said that she would not offer further explanation than what was contained in jury instructions. In her closing argument on Wednesday morning, prosecutor Carrie Morrissey argued that Gutierrez Reed's actions constituted an astonishing failure to adhere to industry safety practices. She argued that Gutierrez Reed was responsible for bringing the live rounds to set and that she never properly rattle tested them to ensure they were dummies. The jury appeared to agree with that assessment. She could have paused, stopped, and cleared it all up, and just never did, Sanchez said outside the courthouse. That was her job to check those rounds, those firearms. No one wanted to pay attention or do that sort of stuff and stop work. Now, the one thing I think that's going to get Alec Baldwin in this is that he said he did not pull the trigger, and he obviously did pull the trigger, so he lied. So I think that's part of the reason why they reopened the case on his side. So we'll see on what goes there. I'll try to keep track of actual court cases and stuff like that, of what happened with this whole case. And I'll try to go to this one guy that did do a review, or at least did the whole court thing with Reed. And I'll try to put some things on what actually happened here within that court case. Within days' time, alright? It's going to take me time to go through all that material. I mean, it's a lot of material, guys. It's probably hours upon hours of actual material that I have to sit through, and I don't even know if I'll get it done within even a few days. So give me time on that at the very least. And I'll see what I can do. If I can find anything that is good enough to me, I think in my eyes that would be, right? So from the onset of this case, the FDA's full pursuits were to bring justice to Helena Hutchins' family and friends to ensure that those responsible for her death were held accountable. In order to do so, the prosecution team exhausted investigative efforts, which proved pivotal to successfully moving forward with this tragic and entirely preventable case. I think the whole death situation could have been preventable. I just think that Alec Baldwin's an idiot. I think the armor is an even bigger idiot. And at least some type of justice being done, right? So that's where it is. Well, she's going to jail. He's going to go for jail maybe 2 years. And I mean maybe 2 years. So we'll see on how that goes. But there's no promises. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, try, share. As always, take care, my friends.